Time now for a look at the day's top business news, and I'm pleased to announce Brian Quinn joins us. Good evening to you, sir.
Hello, Mark.
Starting with a surprise move from the head of America's central bank as leaders try to limit the economic damage from the coronavirus outbreak and its fallout across the world. Brian.
Lots of economic fallout so far. Probably going to continue, Mark. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced an emergency interest rate cut on Tuesday. Its largest since the 2008 financial crisis. The half-point cut puts the Fed's benchmark rate at 1 to 1.25%. It comes one day after the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development warned that worldwide economic growth could be cut in half for the year if the outbreak intensifies. Fed Chair Jay Powell laid out the case for the cut at a press conference today. Here he is.
The virus and the measures that are being taken to contain it will surely weigh on economic activity, both here and abroad, for some time. We are beginning to see the effects on the tourism and travel industries, and we are hearing concerns from industries that rely on global supply chains. The magnitude and persistence of the overall effects on the economy, however, remain highly uncertain, and the situation remains a fluid one.
Well, that surprise rate cut came on the heels of a conference call between finance ministers and central bankers from the G7 group of Western nations Tuesday that aimed at coordinating their response to the COVID-19 virus and its economic fallout. A statement released afterwards affirms the country's commitment to, quote, use all appropriate tools, promising both fiscal and monetary policy measures where appropriate. Some policymakers at the European Central Bank have signaled their opposition to a new interest rate cut here. However, the ECB is reportedly working on a plan to boost cheap loans to businesses affected by the outbreak. French Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire alluded to that plan earlier today.
We expect solidarity and flexibility from all European institutions. Solidarity, meaning the capacity of each of us to play a role. Within the European Central Bank, there are also existing resources to support the finance of small and medium-sized businesses, which could be one of the options that could be on the table.
Over on the markets, a volatile trading day. Plenty of investors had already priced in a 0.5% rate cut by the Fed at their meeting later this month. Well, those investors getting plenty nervous over Tuesday's urgent action. Yields on U.S. Treasury bonds have fallen to record lows as investors rush to safe havens. Major swings on Wall Street over the day. All major indexes ending the session down in the neighborhood of 3%. European indexes finished in positive territory despite falling back significantly from larger gains earlier in the day. New data shows Eurozone inflation slipping in February as energy prices fell amid weakening demand. London, Paris, and Frankfurt exchanges all still finishing the day up around 1%. A final for business here in France, President Emmanuel Macron has announced the requisition of all protective face masks and production that in response to the viral outbreak. Shortages of masks and hand sanitizer have been reported, with Finance Minister Bruno Le Maire threatening price controls amid reports of gouging. A large portion of Western medical supplies come from China, whose supply chains are severely disrupted. The shortages are leading to a big boost, though, for businesses here in France that produce products like sanitizer and thermometers, as Alan Gainsberg and our colleagues at France Télévisions report.
This French factory is working at full tilt to meet its orders for hand sanitizer gel. With a rise in demand following the coronavirus outbreak, it's now producing 60,000 bottles a day.
We are producing about 50% more than we normally do.
With this boost in production, they've had to hire extra hands and now have around 10 temporary workers on top of the 44 permanent staff.
Since the crisis started, we have extended working hours. There's a shift from 10 to 6 a.m., so production is 24 hours a day, 6 out of 7 days a week. We're rolling up our sleeves and getting on with it.
Sales of hand sanitizer gel have shot up by 91% since January, and demand for thermometers is also high. This is the only factory that produces them in France. 70% of France's thermometer supply is imported from China, but with supply chains disrupted by the coronavirus, demand for French-made products is up.
I recruited one employee 2 weeks ago. If demand continues like this, then I'll be happy to hire 1 or 2 more people by the end of the year.
The French economy minister has called the outbreak a globalization game changer. that reveals the West's over-reliance on foreign countries for industrial parts and medical supplies.
So one small bright spot, a lot of troubling news there with the coronavirus, Mark.
I tried to buy some of that hand cleanser from the local pharmacy, chemist shop just around the corner. Sold out completely. Don't know when they're going to get any.
No.
I think that's the picture in many, many pharmacies across France right now.
I think you're right.
We'll see. Like you say, someone could make something out of it somewhere. Brian, thank you very much indeed. Great to see you, Brian, there with all the business.